Welcome everyone to part 6 and the final part of the Order of the Sith series. Today we are going to be talking about the rebirth of Palpatine, the events leading up to it, during it, and after it. Let's get into it. While the Sith Order was ultimately destroyed at Endor, they were not the only Force-obsessed sect to ever exist in the galaxy. The Sith's long history as the Jedi's old opponents and briefly galactic dictators would have a lasting impression years after they had died out. The void created by the Sith's defeat on Endor was filled by groups like the Knights of Ren. So, although the ancient prophecy that predicted the Sith's demise came true, it did not predict the end of darkness. As long as there was light, there would also be darkness. Even after Darth Sidious and Darth Vader were killed, many people continued to follow their way of life. In particular, Yupi Tashu, who served as a trusted counselor to the late Sidious, admired the Sith for their interrogation techniques, knowledge, and cunning. He was certain that the last of the Imperial Armed Forces had to flee to the unknown regions beyond the Veil of Stars to investigate what was causing Sidious to feel the pull of the dark side. The acolytes of the Beyond, devoted followers of the Sith, amassed artifacts associated with the Sith, including what they thought was Darth Vader's lightsaber, with the intention of destroying them so they could be reunited with their owners. The final demise of the acolytes was due to Kaiser's corruption as a result of the Viceroy Ixim Panchard's mask and the promises the dead Sith made to her if she could deliver him to Exegol. Although Supreme Leader Snoke disapproved of Vader's emotion and thought it contributed to the Empire's demise, Kylo Ren vowed to continue the work begun by his grandfather. Ren wanted to do what Vader couldn't, become immune to the light. Ren's former teacher and the last surviving Jedi, Luke Skywalker, originally placed blame on the Jedi Order for Sidious's ascension to power. Ren, having at one point disposing of his non-Sith dark-side teacher Snoke, pleaded with the trainee Jedi Rey to help him create a new galactic order by erasing the memories of the Jedi and the Sith altogether. Darth Sidious's original body fell to its death on Endor, but the Sith Lord used the Force to teleport into a clone body distant from Endor and survived to come back. Sidious and his Sith Eternal cult of followers landed on the Sith secret planet of Exegol in the unknown regions. However, the clone bodies Sidious was using deteriorated under Sidious's power and now had to be constantly wired into cybernetic elements like an Omen harness just to keep going. To restore the Sith Empire, the Sith Eternal constructed the Final Order, the biggest fleet in galactic history on Exegol. At the same time, former Imperial officers, elites, and technicians were able to escape to the unknown regions and create the First Order thanks to a hidden contingency plan prepared by Sidious. One of the synthetic clones of human-like aliens made by the Sith Eternal was Snoke, who rose to the position to supreme ruler of the First Order despite the fact that neither the First Order nor its members knew of the existence of the Sith Eternal or that their previous emperor was seemingly still living in a certain manner. After learning from his dead father that Exegol was the focal point of his visions, Luke set out on a journey to find the planet, sensing a growing darkness. While the Sith assassin Ochi was searching for Rey on the instructions of the Sith Eternal and Sidious, Kaiser and the Ghost of Panchard continued their own quest for Exegol. Luke believed that the conflict had ended after Kaiser's death and the destruction of Panchard's mask, which destroyed the Sith Viceroy for good. Eventually, Snoke would corrupt Ben Solo, the son of Han Solo and Leia Organa, and he joined the dark side. This would happen after a series of unfortunate events, including what he believed to be an attempt on his life by his uncle Luke, the destruction of the Jedi Temple by a storm that Ben himself had called, and the death of Ben's companion, Tai, at the hands of an unknown Ren. Solo eventually gave in to the temptations of the dark side and became a Sith Lord. Ben gave in to the dark side, murdering Ren. Renaming himself Kylo Ren and taking over as the leader of the Knights of Ren, a sect of Force practitioners, Luke withdrew into his own self-imposed exile, somewhere unknown to others, and his whereabouts are now unknown across the galaxy. The First Order began its war of conquest 30 years after the Battle of Endor by launching a siege of the inhabited galaxy from the unknown regions and overthrowing the New Republic, the government set up by the Rebel Alliance at the end of the Galactic Civil War. Kylo Ren felt an affinity by means of the Force with Rey, a scavenger from Jakku who beat him in a lightsaber duel during the Battle of Starkiller Base and was partially trained as a Jedi by Luke during the First Order's pursuit of the Resistance, a private military force led by General Leia who opposed the First Order. Following Snoke's death at Ren's hands, the two worked together to destroy the elite Praetorian Guards. Rey believed that her kindness would have the same effect on Ren as it did on Vader under Luke, but instead Ren became even more corrupted by the dark side and overthrew his master as supreme leader. While her Jedi master Luke sacrificed himself to deceive Ren during the Battle of Crate, Rey escaped and aided her comrades in the Resistance, and the other surviving members of the Resistance evacuated. 1 year later, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren located Exegol, from where he learned about Sidious, the Sith Eternal, and his fleet, the Final Order, which he intended to unleash on the galaxy in order to build a new Sith Empire. Sidious went on to tell Ren that his son and his son's wife, both of whom Sidious had murdered, had a daughter named Rey. If Ren murdered Rey, Sidious promised him the Sith fleet in a new Sith Empire. Subsequently, Ren notified the First Order Supreme Council of the Sith fleet presence. General Enric Preed of the Allegiance thought they might utilize it to massively expand their armies for the last drive for galactic dominance. General Preed, a veteran of the old Empire, swore devotion to Sidious and was promoted to head of the Sith fleet when Ren betrayed the First Order. On Exegol, Rey saw her grandpa sitting on the seat of power as an auditorium full of his supporters shouted behind him. After manipulating Ren, Sidious assured Rey he had no intention of killing her and instead wanted her to succeed him as Lord of the Sith. Sidious urged her to kill him so that he might inhabit her body with his ghost. Sidious tempted Rey by revealing the Battle of Exegol, which broke out when Rey sent the location of Exegol to her comrades in the Resistance. Even though the Sith Eternal forces initially outnumbered the Resistance, a citizen's fleet helped them. A returned Ben Solo arrived on Exegol and went on to defeat the Knights of Ren and accompany Rey, standing side by side against the Dark Lord of the Sith. Sidious angrily grabbed the two using the Force and inadvertently drew some of their life force, which caused his body to begin healing. Realizing that their connection was a dyad in the Force, Sidious siphoned the life force of their bond to rejuvenate his body. Out of pure spite for the Skywalker bloodline, Sidious disposed of Solo in a nearby abyss. Sidious ascended the throne of the Sith and used the Force lightning to attack the Resistance in the Citizens' fleet. After that, and with the help of dead Jedi, Rey finally got up off the ground. Rey defended herself with Anakin and Leia's lightsaber as Sidious directed his lightning at her. Rey deflected the lightning back at Sidious, slaying the Sith and setting off an explosion that brought down the whole arena. Ben made it out of the hole where Rey was lying dead and saved Rey's life. Ben crawled to her, sacrificed his life to bring her back, and then passed away soon after. Rey finally chose to disregard her dark origins, adopting the surname Skywalker in memory of the fallen Jedi Order and ensuring that the Sith would never rise again. Without the Sith to protect them, the First Order came under assault from the citizens all around the galaxy, who took courage from the Resistance in the Citizens' fleet triumph at Exegol. That ends the series of the Order of the Sith. I hope you enjoyed the series. If you did, please push the like and subscribe buttons. May the Force be with you, always.